Shorting the dot-com bubble was the same feeling. The guys who were long were telling Buffett that he was wrong. Think about this. The guys that were long the dot-com bubble were literally telling Warren Buffett he was wrong. This time was different. Yeah, Druck was early, Soros was early, Tiger was early. The dot-com bubble took a lot of people for surprise. Caused a lot of wounds. But guess what? Those guys still have more money than they ever have. You know, being a little early is not the worst thing. The worst thing is being long and thinking these things are the next big thing. Now, if you can actually get in as a long at the early part of a bubble and get out at the top, that's just as good as being short or better at the top. That's just as good as being short at the top or even better. The problem is you're knowingly buying a pile of trash. That's hard to get comfortable with. It's certainly hard to get comfortable with in size. But you're presupposing that there's a way to get timing right. Most people traditionally have thought about, is this a good company or a bad company? Then maybe they worry about timing. But very few people say, you know what, I'm willingly able to put a huge part of my money in a company I know is worthless. Yes, I love doing this. No, but nobody does that. You know, but if you can, God bless you. You know, it's like, it's a wonderful thing. You know, you'll be bigger than Soros very soon. But you know, most investors have a method, and that method involves some type of quality analysis of the company, and that quality analysis generally dictates what companies are eligible for being long or being short. Very few investors want to say that they partook in the inflating of a bubble of an asset they thought was worthless on the long side. If they do, they're usually not high conviction. They're small trades. Very few people say, let me buy the worst company. And the worst company is the ones that rally the most when there's liquidity, because investors seek the edge of the Kaplan curve as far as they can go out. You know, treasuries are not interesting. Equities aren't interesting, or converts, maybe you're next. Wait, treasuries, other sovereigns, corporates, munis, those become interesting. You start to think about equities or converts, then equities. You start blue chip equities. Now I'm not going to get a good return out of Coke and Walmart. Then you go to tech. Am I going to get a great return out of a big cap tech? I don't know. I need something even riskier and crazier. What's the riskiest and craziest asset? There's only one or two assets riskier and crazier than quantum computing. It's meme coins. And, you know, you can do that. And even riskier than that is stake. Just go to stake. You know, stake has good variance. You know, so people will want to gamble, and that's fine. But ultimately, the smart investor has at least some notion that he's buying a good company stock or a bad company stock, and at least has some notion that he's getting a good deal or a bad deal. Now, again, if you're a master at taking price action and converting it to P&L, that's wonderful. You know, there are people who have done that. Paul Tudor Jones, Steve Cohen, many others. There's nothing wrong with that. 𝗬𝗓𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏, Steve Schoenfeld, they're legends who made billions. It's a wonderful thing. It's just not what everyone does. I mean, some people, and even these days, those guys don't do that. You know, they tend to try to, you know, at least understand what it is that they're buying or selling. And they tend not to make sort of wild bets and stuff they don't understand really well, or they look at charts. You know, there are chartists that largely have hung it up. There are still some people who are interested in charts, but it's mostly disappeared from the street, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing to do or not a bad thing to do. You do whatever works for you. But I think that, you know, my style, you know, by the way, I don't think that my style is superior or inferior to anybody else's. I think that it's what I'm comfortable doing. Quantitative investing is kind of a superior style in a lot of ways, but there are barriers to entry in that style. There are also trade-offs you have to make. It's a very high leverage style. Some people don't want to do that. It's a style that's a function of somewhat complex, sometimes not so complex, computational machinery and mathematical machinery. And, you know, it's a style that not everyone's comfortable with. If I told you tomorrow there's a computer program that's going to outtrade you or outinvest you by 100x, you might say, yeah, I don't know. I don't don't want that. And I think Buffett would say, I'm not sure I want that. And so there's all kinds of strategies. There's arbitrage strategies like merger arb. You know, it's all up to you to decide what works for you or doesn't work for you. I think the key is longevity, risk management. You know, for me, I really do want to know, is the company that I'm trading or investing garbage or not? That may or may not be necessarily correlated with the stock price in the near term. In fact, as we know, sometimes you do want to buy a garbage company at a really good price, like below cash or something like that, or 3 times earnings or whatever. And sometimes you want to buy a great company at a really expensive price, like PLTR or something like that. You know, it really depends on your strategy. There are people that are so-called growth investors, like Cathie Wood. She'll buy a growth stock at virtually any price. I won't. It sort of has to make sense to me from a valuation perspective as to how I can get a good deal. Now, it's not easy to value growth stocks, but, you know, I think that, you know, you have to have some flexibility and ingenuity. Sometimes you get a little bit of luck, good or bad. Right now I'm getting a little bit of bad. And sometimes you get really good luck. When we made 24x on a cassava short and Galectin short and the first quantum dump, that was great. 24x was fantastic. I mean, I've never made 24x in my life before in 3 months or whatever it was that we did. It was awesome. But, you know, there was a bunch of good luck thrown in there. You know, there was good luck that cassava didn't try to fix the results or spin the results, or, you know, cassava didn't try to lie or delay or whatever. It just worked. Galectin was similar. Galectin didn't do much spinning. We're kind of lucky that we made it out alive in Galectin, because Galectin didn't really dump that hard, even though it should have. It was such a microcap that it might have not dumped. I was worried it was going to go up. The first quantum dump may not have happened, right? Nobody knew Jansen was going to say it's 30 years out, which he hasn't changed his mind, by the way. So when Jansen said quantum is trash, it's 30 years away, the stocks dropped by 50%. We made a fortune. Yeah, no, VTL was great. There were so many great short trades we've done over the years. We're going to get a couple up soon with Immune and Capricorn, and we got a good pipeline of new biotech shorts. But, you know, this is, you know, we may be lucky on those, we may be unlucky. I mean, it's a probability distribution. There's no certainty. So there's a lot of ways you can trade in the stock market. One of the things you could do is use options for leverage. You could also borrow money using a margin account for leverage. So those are 2 ways that you can make a short return more than 100%. I actually didn't use puts, I used calls in the cassava trade. It's all up to you how you want to invest and trade. Qubits, D-Wave is Apple, Rigetti is Microsoft, IonQ is NVIDIA, and QUBT is Broadcom. Woo! Bubbles can last as long as the buyers have money. It's hard to say, Luke. I mean, there's so many different market conditions that lead to these bubbles that, you know, what is it? You know, is there a way to interpret it or think about it? Usually, you know, at best you can think about it after the fact. It's kind of hard to, like, in the moment understand even what's going on. That's why people like to talk to market participants. And I certainly like talking to some of the market participants here. And you could see that, like, almost none of the market participants are here for the fundamentals, which is great, because it tells you that eventually the liquidity drive has to, how should you say, it has to run out of steam. You know, liquidity and price increases can only last so long. There has to be substance to a company eventually. So I prefer that kind of short than shorting, say, HIMS or Palantir, where the company's doing really well and I'm waiting for the company to make a misstep. They may not. Here, it's like there is no misstep or the company's doing well. It's just people chasing a stock that is wildly overvalued. Kamala, I'm sorry about your diagnosis. Crohn's disease is, depending on whether you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, they're really tough diseases. They are treatable. Remicade is a good start. There are much more powerful drugs, though. I would start with a different one. Shkreli, for example, 𝗕𝗏. A TNF alpha inhibitor in 2025 is kind of a little bit of a weaker drug to start with, in my opinion. It's hard to track liquidity. I mean, I think that I like to track Bitcoin and Fartcoin. I mean, those are two good barometers for liquidity, and they're doing really well. The S&P 500 is a proxy for liquidity. I don't think the quant funds are toying with the rest of us. I know that there's a temptation to think that. A lot of people are thinking that. Some of the quant funds are long momentum, quite a lot of them. So I'm sure some of them are buying just because the stock's up, they buy too. But they generally don't put huge amounts of money to work in that. Market making is kind of where they can feel comfortable being delta neutral. So I don't think there's any conspiracy to pump these stocks to force short covering or something like that. It wouldn't make money. If you've ever thought about it, it just sort of doesn't make sense. Yeah, for retail liquidity, employment is a pretty good sign. I added to some of my positions yesterday, and I want to add today as well. You'd be surprised. I mean, volume was really high back in the day for dotcom stocks. Some of it's hard to explain. I have a lot more capital I can add. I just hate doing it just to chase a short squeeze. I'd rather just wait it out. But I'll add capital if I have to. I don't know if the 2x funds do anything. I'm not sure. I've only added liquidity once to this. Anthony, they haven't sold a system in 4 years, so they don't have recurring system sales. That's correct. They sold one computer. Got the Fibonacci retracement locked in. Let's go. I need the fib. I need the fib to go in my direction. Who checked the Fibonacci? Who's got the Fibonacci? Calculate it for me, please. All of the CEOs, Sarepta CEO, I demand, I'm going to call him up. I demand you say you want to be the NVIDIA of gene therapy. You got the Fibonacci for me. Okay, Alejandro, if 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏 ever makes a computer that can solve Shor's algorithm with 300 digits, I will get a tattoo of 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏 if they're first to do it. My billionaire friend is asking me if I think these stocks are manipulated. I said it feels like that, but it's not. If Carousel is even short 500,000 shares, 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏 trades 500,000 shares in 10 minutes now. Also, we're looking for full stack engineers in New York City. If this happens to be you or somebody you know, email me, martin@dl.software. We'll pay top dollar for great full stack engineers. Love to see somebody who has a finance background. So you worked at a fund or a financial software company. We'll also pay you if you refer us somebody. So if you refer us somebody that we end up hiring, we'll pay you 10% of their 12-month salary. So martin@dl.software. I think we're on our $2 million a year run rate to pay for data. We haven't put a lot of our data that we are paying for in there yet. Yeah, I saw the Bloomberg outage. The problem with Bloomberg is we can make a better version. Bloomberg's good, but it can be better. There's 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏 coming back, baby. I mean, D-Wave, 1850 almost. Give me that 1850. 1850 is the current level of that window. If we go to 18, the window's shut. We shut that window. You will get a good spot if you short now. I'd do anything to be in your position. Yep, Anthony, for sure. Well, of course, equity research reports come from the banks. I guess from BB, you mean bulge bracket, not Bloomberg. Yeah, if you look at the alternative display facility and the advertisements, all of the volume is not going through the street. It's all going through retail brokerages. It's got to be the short of the century. I think, who do I know that can give me like 100 mil to do this trade?
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach.
Hello? Oh, great. Well, thanks for calling. How can I help you?
No problem. What if we had somebody interview Jansen?
Okay.
Get his take on it, like, candidly, you know?
I don't think
I feel like if he was just like interviewed on the street or something or at a conference, he would like laugh at this situation. He would say something off the cuff that would show his true thoughts on it.
I hear you, and he already did that, right? He said 30 years away. He didn't change his mind. You know, look how he looked at these guys at his own conference. He was making fun of them. I think the problem is Jansen is very smart. He's got a $3 trillion company, so he doesn't give about a couple billion in stock market gyrations. even if they take us to the poorhouse. The Jansen wants to be a positive, constructive force for entrepreneurs. The reason he's just kind of like smiling and nodding throughout this thing is he can't say what he thinks. He can't say this is a bunch of nonsense. NVIDIA is the only computing company in the world worth paying attention to. Then AMD, then Intel, that order, that's it. And he can't say that because why would he want to crush the dreams of entrepreneurs? Why would he want to, he'd look like a bad guy. The guy's worth $100 billion. It's bad form. It's like Michael Jordan making fun of your jump shot, No disrespect to your jump shot. But it's like, why go out of his way to like squish an ant?
Yeah, I mean, I understand why he'd be political about it, but
it just seems...
I see is he was the only catalyst for these stocks going down at any point in the last 6 months. Even when they had their quantum day, his facetious nature was kind of the only thing that sparked the next leg down. So yeah. I feel like his comments lately, in light of quantum that are positive, might be the main reason why things have gone the way they have recently.
But you also have, don't forget, the Microsoft Quantum Odyssey, IBM, Google, everyone's sort of like interested in making a quantum computer because it's the most scientifically challenging thing there is to do. But I've talked to people at IBM and Google Quantum. None of them think it's a real thing commercially. It's an exciting scientific endeavor, and Lord knows Google X and even Facebook special projects are just stacked full of failures. So I don't know, man. I appreciate the call. I just, frustrating. I don't think it's easy to get Jansen on a quick conference call either. These guys, you can't talk to the D-Waves or the IonQs. They are just too used to. I can call Gates. The problem is Gates can't do it because Microsoft is knee deep in it, but Cascade could do the short. I can call Dell too. Ballmer has a big family office. They raised $2 billion to short all these stocks to zero. That's what I should do. Big G is only good for a few mil. Dell's junior guy is on board, but Michael Dell and MSD would go short. Well, we're recovering a little bit. I don't know if I can call the big homie. I don't know if I should be calling the big homie. You want me to call the big homie? Should I call my ex? I don't think that's a good idea. Have you ever heard that the market can stay rational longer than you can stay solvent? No, it's the first time I've heard that one. Call Buffett? Buffett will be very clear with me. Martin, I haven't talked to you in 8 years. What do you want? Mr. Buffett, I'm calling about investment. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm 93, leave me alone. I told you Berkshire doesn't do pharmaceuticals. How many times do I tell you? I told your buddy too. I'm not calling about pharmaceuticals, Mr. Buffett. Well, what do you want? Make it quick. There's quantum computing stocks. What? No, I wouldn't buy that if it was the last stock on the market. You know what we do here at Berkshire. Yes, Mr. Buffett. I'm here to ask you to short sell these stocks. Oh, okay. Oh, I like this. I can get behind. Let me call Bill. All right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Bill. I'll see if what he thinks, and if he thinks it's a good idea, I'll do a little bit. All right, Mr. Buffett. Let winners ride. Let your winners ride. It's good advice. This isn't a winner, buddy. I want to take all your money, buy all the quantum stocks you can. Go ahead. I can take the pain. You want a quick 50% drawdown? Take it. Go ahead. Tesla's a real company. These aren't real companies. It's a meme coin. I mean, if I can go back in time, I'd have all the money in the entire global financial system. So no, I can't go back in time. If I can go back in time, I would have gone long, okay? Are you happy? Obviously. I would have gone long and bought every dip. Okay? I would have squeezed Jansen. Baggies is killing it right now, okay? Baggies is taking his account from 14,000 to 22,000. He's killing it. You want a good short squeeze? Travelzoo. Travelzoo was a short squeeze. My old boss rode the Travelzoo short squeeze. You guys don't even remember it. Some of you weren't born. This was Travelzoo. No, this wasn't even the Travelzoo short squeeze. It goes way back before this. This was like the echo squeeze. Oh, lordy. Travelzoo was like this weird squeeze after the dot-com bubble. It was very odd. It went up 10x, went all the way back down, went up 10x again, went all the way back down. Volkswagen was another one. These are some of the best shorts I've ever seen. You got a $10 billion company with no revenue and no business. You got a $5 billion company that has a computer that doesn't work. You got a $2 billion company that used to be a beverage company that doesn't have a computer or any revenue for that matter, $35,000 in revenue. You have a $3 billion company with the CEO telling you the product doesn't work, telling you anybody else with this product is lying. Starting to get a little anxiety, I'm not gonna lie. You guys know I have a little panic disorder I've had since I was a kid. Rigetti sells a product that doesn't work. Correct. 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗘𝗢𝗙 sells a product that doesn't work. Correct. Do it. You want to make a bunch of money? Short these stocks right now. Next NVIDIA. Next NVIDIA. NVIDIA wasn't supposed to be the next NVIDIA. You think 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗘𝗢𝗢 is NVIDIA? Used car salesman CEO? Yep. Yacht Fuel knows. Tiger and Soros all capitulated tech at the top of the very top. Ain't gonna be me. Never gonna be me. JP Morgan, UBS, every bank's gonna have to pry these shares from my cold dead hands. I'm not liquidated in 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗘𝗢𝗢 till 40 bucks. Don't worry about me. My quick thoughts on IonQ, it's a scam. It's a huge scam. That's my quick thoughts. Is that quick enough for you? That's without more capital, Nick. I can put more capital on. I wouldn't say none are scams, but yeah, I mean, I think I appreciate your, nuance there. You're not wrong, obviously. Yeah, TA would save everybody. I draw the lines. The lines tell me what's going to happen next. I drew the lines. Oh, I draw the lines better than you. My line drawing technique tells me the future. Yeah, 300% rally. It's coming. Totally coming. Yeah. People like buying fraud even more when it goes up for a higher price. You're right. That's why GameStop went to $10 million a share. Oh, wait. No, it didn't. It went all the way back down. That's what happened. I remember now. Ooh, the stock's breaking out. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened to dry shipping, right? It just kept going up forever. It's $50 million a share in your baggy dreams. No, it's 10 millionth of 1 cent. Buy a real stock. Buy Sarepta. At least it's a real company. Yeah, Elemental, it is a stock that didn't moon. All the bag holders put it in the top at 400. They donated all their money. And now it's at 20 and they're waiting like this. When's it gonna bow-ass again? When's it gonna moon again? Same thing with AMC. Same thing with Bed Bath & Beyond. Same thing with all the trash stocks you like. It's the same thing with D-Wave. The same thing with IonQ. Same thing with dry ships. You're gonna sit there. It's gonna go to 10 cents and you're gonna wonder where all your money went. Keep strung together. Yeah, the average guy bought GameStop at 4. You're right. They're totally not bag holders. They're totally comfortable where they are. It's been awesome. AMC shareholders loving life right now. Remember that ape? Remember the ape tracking stock? Ape strung together. We need GameStop in 2025. We need to... I hate downloading my games. I want to buy physical copy, bro. I want to wait in line. I want to wake up at 6 a.m. and go to the GameStop and drive 20 minutes away. I love doing that. To buy the game for a higher price. Smart, man. It's the same thing. I mean, people failed to do quantum for the last 20 years. They'll go bankrupt and be somebody else. It's the same thing as gene therapy, biotech. There'll always be somebody trying quantum. It's not going to... The idea won't go away, and Google seems very committed to it. But even Google can shut it down. All it takes is a new CEO of Google saying, yeah, we're shutting this down. We can't afford it. I would bet Google's going to stick around. I don't know if GameStop shorts won, but GameStop longs certainly didn't win. I mean, it's not a battle of longs and shorts. The point is, if you bought GameStop at $100 thinking you were doing something, thinking you were squeezing somebody, got the head and shoulders pattern, get the shampoo out. GameStop has a good CEO. I still think it's overvalued, but I wouldn't short.